So here I got a pretty awesome deal. Yeah, you guys know what that is. So here we have a set of Perrin Headers, and the cool thing about it is that they're actually coated by this company called Jet Hot, I believe. Jet Hot was originally a manufacturer for jet parts, as the name suggests, and basically what they do is they coat exhausts just like this, just so that they're pretty much heat treated so that they don't let off a lot of heat. So you can see here we have the Perrin logo. Normally these headers for the F820 DIT are silver, but here they're coated in black. And after doing my research and seeing a bunch of videos and testimonials and things like that, basically this stuff is treated for the life of the part, so this will never chip. You know, it'll always look like this, so the coating will always remain. Now, some of the videos that I've seen one guy who he basically put this coating on some of his motorcycle exhausts, and it shows to have reduced the temperatures of the exhaust by like 200 to 300 degrees, which is crazy. So stock, his exhaust was reaching around 635 degrees Fahrenheit, and after doing the coating it was up to like 350, somewhere there. So pretty spectacular results. Another thing that I also added to the package, we also got a set of Grimmspeed hardware. So that's the J-pipe bolts, the washers, things like that, just in case those do break off when I do the install. And we also got some Grimmspeed gaskets, because they're about 20% or 22% thicker than the OEM ones. And when we go ahead and take off the J-pipe, we're going to have to go ahead and place the gaskets as well. So we have gaskets for the downpipe, gaskets for the header, basically all gaskets that go over here and on the sides here as well, and to the downpipe. So basically with these headers I'll finally be full bolt on, because we've done everything else to the car there is to do. We've done exhaust, we've done intake, we've done pretty much anything you could do to the car.
One eternity later.
Alright guys, it is finally header install day today. We've got what I think is pretty much all the tools that we need to complete this, so I'm just going to run you guys through it a little bit. We've got some pinch pliers here, we have a gasket set by Grimmspeed, and also a J-pipe bolt kit from Grimmspeed. We have our breaker bar, wrench, flathead screwdriver, a bunch of other different wrenches, socket set, pliers, adjustable wrench. This is just to cut open the pliers, so it's brand new. Our impact gun and our drain pan. So if there's anything new that we might need as I go through this, I'll let you guys know what that is. And of course we have the Perrin header itself. Alright, so we've got the car fully jacked up, so now we're going to go ahead and remove the skid plate, and we've got our impact wrench with a 10mm socket.
You're experiencing technical difficulty. Glitch.
Alright, so as you guys can see, this is our stock header right over here, but before we get to removing anything over here, we have to go ahead and remove some stuff over here by the turbo side. Let me show you guys right over here. So there's a bunch of different wires and things that have to come off. The boost controller has to come off as well, the clamps to the intake, and the top portion of the charge pipe. Alright, so I'm actually going to start off with the worm gear clamps over here that are holding on the intake, and then we're going to slowly make our way in towards the turbo, so going that way. Alright, so we got the intake part out. So now this is a little bit different. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, but basically on the Forester, this hose right over here is a tiny bit different. I don't know if you could really see it from there, but it's not like the WRX where it just has like a little like pinch hose where you pinch it together and then slide the tube off. It has this weird kind of clip thing. I always kind of seem to mess it up a little bit, but let's see if we can just yank it off like this. It's usually pretty easy. So there's like a little tab over here, you just press down and then pull up. So I'm gonna try and fiddle with this and get it off. Actually, you know what, since we're here first, I'm going to get this out of the way. So this is the boost controller connection. So we're going to go ahead and press that down. It might be a little bit different for you because I have an aftermarket one, but we're just going to go ahead and press this down and try to pull it out just like that. So we're going to put those to the side, and then we can work on getting this little piece off a little bit easier now. Yep, just like that. So it just slips right off. Perfect, so we got that. Now we also have this tiny little hose over here as well. So right there, so we're going to pull that off, just like that. Alright, cool. So now we only have a couple more. So there's one over here that connects to, in my case, my blow-off valve. In your case, your bypass valve, right? So we're just going to clamp that down with a set of pliers and remove it. I think I might actually get some pinch ones, but we actually might have some space to do this, so let me try that out. Alright, so we just pinch that, right, and move it down. So I'm going to go ahead and use my 10mm wrench here. We're just going to pull this up, just loosen this thing up, just like that. So one over here, and we're going to see if we can reach the other one on the other side. Let's see how easy or difficult it is to get in there. Alright, so we managed to take out both bolts that were on each side holding in the this little piece over here that attaches to the turbo, and they were both pretty loose. So I'm surprised that I didn't have a boost leak or anything. So we're going to go ahead and place these to the side, and we're going to go ahead and pop this off. There it is. Alright, perfect. So we got all that off. So we've got our turbo exposed, and we also have our the bottom part of our charge pipe exposed. We're going to go ahead and undo these two bolts, loosen it up, and kind of pull it off of here. Alright, so now that we remove the charge pipe bolts, this is still kind of hanging on there. We can kind of wiggle it around. The next step is to grab a 17mm. We've got one 17mm, and then we've got one of these adjustable ones, so we're going to try and make it work. We've got to remove this oil feed line, and then these two hoses have to come off, 1 and 2. So this is the part where we're going to go ahead and put our drain pan underneath, just so that we don't dirty everything up and spill everything. Alright, so drain pan is here, and we also brought our pinch pliers, so that when we go ahead and take these off, we can go ahead and pinch them off so that we don't lose too much fluid. Alright, so we got the oil feed line loose, so all we had to do was basically hold this end down, and then this part we had to turn towards us or clockwise, right? So now we can just do it by hand. So just like that. So on to the next step once we get this off. Alright, now it's time to pinch off our hoses, and we're going to pull them off of the lines over here. Alright, everything is pinched off. Hopefully we don't get any significant leaks. Let me move you guys back so you don't get any oil on you. So we're going to go ahead and grab the pliers now and pull these little clips down so we can remove the hoses. Ooh. Well, there we go. We got the coolant out. Jesus. I'm not worried about the extra coolant that we lost, because we do have some extra coolant lying around. So later on when we're done with this, and same goes for you guys, go ahead and replace all the fluids that you lost at the end, whether it's oil or coolant. Just gotta wipe myself. Got a whole bunch of coolant all over me. Alright, I wish I could tilt the camera up a little bit more for you guys, but I think that's the most it goes. So we have everything clamped off. Now we're on more on the driver's side now. So we went ahead and clamped off these, there's just this one hose. So there's two here. There's one weird looking one. It almost looks like an incomplete worm gear clamp, so that one has to be slid off. And then there's one over here with like the regular kind of pinch material at the end. So that one is pinched off. We're going to go ahead and use our pliers to move this one up and back. I'm going to go ahead and grab some like needle nose pliers, and hopefully I have some actually. I don't even know if I do. I got some small ones here, so hopefully this will do the job. We're almost there. There it goes. Perfect. So for that second hose we were just looking at, it's actually easier to come through the engine bay. You see it's right there, the one that's kind of pinched off. So I'm going to see if I could actually pull it up from here instead. Alright, so here's the easiest way to do this. So we went ahead and took off the scoop. It's sitting right over there. So now the only thing that's in our way is the coolant hose, but we could still kind of grab it right over here. Again, hopefully this thing focuses and you guys can see that. And we just kind of yank it up slowly. Alright, not too bad. Not too bad on the coolant spillage. Yeah, not too bad. So we had it pinched off. Got a little bit of coolant on the turbo. We're going to go ahead and wipe everything down. But now we can move on to the J-pipe and the dreaded bolts. So this is where it kind of gets interesting. So a lot of times these bolts tend to strip. So we're going to go ahead and spray them down with some PB Blaster. And we do have replacement bolts in case that they do strip. Let's see. Here it is. Alright. The good stuff. Good old PB. Alright, so we let the PB Blaster kind of sit a little bit on the threads, and we have our 14mm socket here along with our breaker bar, and we have all our bolts on standby just in case we strip anything. So let's go ahead and take this slow, see how well this works out. Not too bad on that first one. Number 2. Oh, these don't sound good, man. So after a few hours of messing around, decided to go to AutoZone, get one of these bolt kind of like strip removers. Like if you have a strip bolt, this is basically designed to get it out. So it has these like kind of teeth that binds onto the nut, and this is our nut. It got completely destroyed. So yeah, so good thing we got the Grimmspeed kit, and we can finally move on. Alright, so we've made some progress. We took off this shield and this little bracket that sits on top of the J-pipe. So let me show you guys what's going on over here. A little bit of damage over here on the stud, so we're probably gonna go ahead and take that off. But so basically, yeah, this shield was right on top of here, so it was here, and it kind of like went underneath the pulley over here to deflect heat from the belt here. And then the bracket was also sitting right on top of the J-pipe as well. So what we have to do now is we're going to go down there. We're going to go ahead and take off those bolts holding in the front of the J-pipe. This is all going to come out, and then we could finally get to the header. Alright, so we disconnected the O2 sensor that's on the J-pipe. We went ahead and loosened up the bolts over there. You can see that they're out, so we're just going to go ahead and move the J-pipe out now. I went ahead and took out the J-pipe. There was just another sensor on top along with this little thing that was holding it onto the car, so it's like a ground, and this is a 10mm bolt, so pretty straightforward. Took those out. Now we need 14mm to go ahead and take off a couple bolts that are holding in the header. Here is our header after many hours of battling with this. So really the biggest setback was the bolts, but man, do yourself a favor and get you a set of these guys. They really helped me. Alright, there we go. So got that off. We're going to place it to the side. Oh, there we go. You just have to wiggle it around a little bit. Alright, so from underneath we took off 2 of the header bolts, and now there's 2 more on the other side, right over here. Hope you guys could see that, so let's go ahead and try and take those off. Alright, so after many stripped bolts, here is the header. We just got it removed. Here, let's go ahead and count them up. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 stripped bolts here, a couple of studs that came out, another strip bolt that's attached to this stud, so we'll see how we'll get this one out. So yeah, definitely good that we got the Grimmspeed gaskets and the whole bolt kit and all this stuff over here. So now we've got our turbo here, so we can go ahead and grab our Perrin headers and go ahead and orientate them the right way and slip them on. But first, I think we're going to have to go ahead and put on the header studs again. So instead of having to deal with taking this bolt off the stud, I went ahead and put all the Grimmspeed ones in the locations that were missing. So we've got 1 stud that was stripped on the J-pipe side and 2 that kind of came off, or I just don't feel like putting the shitty ones back. So we're going to go ahead and put on some thread locker, right? Some thread locker right over here. This is the red strength one, so I think it's like one of the higher strength ones. I'm going to go ahead and put it on this end of the thread where it goes into the header and into the J-pipe side, just so that it doesn't come out. And then we're ready to actually put the Perrin header on. Alright, so I believe those are good to go. Now we just have the 1 stud left over. I'm just going to go ahead and double check underneath the car. I think there was 1 stud that came out, so let me go double check that. Yep, there was just 1, so this Grimmspeed kit came with the perfect amount that I needed at least, so I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing here. Alright, all the studs are set in place. Now onto the fun stuff. We can go ahead and actually mount the headers onto the actual turbo and then replace all the gaskets, and then we're good to go. Alright, so first things first, we're going to go ahead and open up our Grimmspeed gasket here and throw it on the header side over here. Now the hardware that this comes with is for the WRX, so that it basically like provides a spacer so that when you go ahead and put your skid plate on, it's not touching the skid plate. Because the skid plate design is different on the Forester, I don't know if we can actually use these, and if we can't, we'll just go ahead and leave the skid plate off for now, and then eventually we'll kind of drill into it, or cut into it rather, just to kind of be able to fit the header. Yep, just like that. Perfect. Okay, just to give you guys a closer look, so those on that side, 2 on this side as well. So it's looking pretty cool so far.
The next day,
we've got the stock headers right over here, along with the stock heat shields. I don't believe we need the stock heat shields for the Perrin header, but let me show you guys what's going on under here. Looking pretty cool. So everything sat pretty flush. It took a while to really get it to seat up properly, but it's really nice to see that there's new hardware on here, all the new nuts and bolts, because everything, so many of these things got stripped and they were really old and rusty, so it's nice to see them looking clean again. We buttoned everything up, so we basically just have to put the skid plate back on. I don't know if I'll actually do it today because tomorrow we're actually going to be dropping off the car at Vinny 10 Racing, and they're going to be working on installing a new torque converter along with a Pro Tune and also probably a new air oil separator. So I'll probably just leave it off for them just to make their lives easier so they don't have to remove it again. But one thing I did last night before I packed everything up, I did start the car and I didn't realize that I had a bunch of oil kind of caked onto the header, so it did kind of burn onto it just a little bit. I didn't have the car running for too long, so maybe, just maybe, we can clean it off right now with some degreaser and like a brush. So we're gonna go ahead and do that now, and then I'll give you guys the first startup. Alright, I think that about covers it. I'm pretty sure that we're still going to get a little bit of smoke because I don't think I completely cleaned everything. It might either be from the header or the J-pipe or even the turbo heat shield itself, because I did kind of make contact with that a little bit. But let's go ahead and turn it on. We're going to check for any boost leaks or oil leaks or coolant leaks or any type of leak, and we'll go from there. Yeah, we've got just a little bit of smoke, but nothing too bad. Now, it doesn't really sound all that different. Yeah, I don't think it sounds all that different, but I'm not gonna rev it up or anything until we get the tune. So Perrin advertises that you don't need a tune with these headers so long as your car is stock, but because we have a ton of different modifications, we are gonna need the Pro Tune.
3 weeks later.
Alright guys, so this is a little bit later now, and we managed to get the Perrin header all bolted up. Everything is working perfectly. It sounds great. We got the car Pro-tuned as well. I didn't include any exhaust clips in this video. I actually did switch back to the original Invidia N1 exhaust because it was actually too loud on the straight pipe. Don't get me wrong, the straight pipe actually sounded amazing, but at wide open throttle on the highway, it was just way too drony and it was just too loud. So we switched back to the Invidia. Again, it's sounding quiet again, but we might do some modifications in the future to kind of turn up the loudness a little bit. But yeah, that pretty much covers it for this video. In the next video, however, stay tuned because we've installed a brand new torque converter in this car. So basically it allows it to get a little bit more torque, and hopefully it acts as an insurance mod as well, so that if that is actually the weak link of the CVT in this car, it will last us a little bit longer. That's what I'm hoping, fingers crossed. So we'll see what happens in the future. If you guys have any questions about the installation process of the Perrin headers, let me know down below in the comments. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care now. Peace.